Alright, today we're going to talk about Mitsubishi Outlander Sport. I purchased these hood struts online from eBay. So this is the bracket that it comes with. See if you can see that right there. The only complaint that I have is that I feel like this bracket could obviously be better, but once you tighten it down it seems to be okay. So I'm just going to keep an eye on it. Make sure it doesn't move around or anything like that. And then obviously it has the shocks. And these actually get mounted down here at the bottom. So what I actually ended up having to do is on this panel, I had to take this off, and then I basically just cut this here with some scissors. This comes off with these little plastic pins. Just get a small screwdriver, lightly lift up on here, and this whole thing will pop out. 4 on this side, 4 as well. Mounts in the same spot, except on this one you don't have to do any trimming at all. It's pretty much visible. I will say, when you go to mock everything up, you want to make sure that while you're installing this strut bar, that you go ahead and put this one in first, because obviously you're not going to get access to it. Now, these are held in with these clips here. This is pretty normal for a lot of hood struts. So what I will tell you is they are kind of finicky to deal with. And what I would do is don't even worry about trying to pop them out, put this in place, and then put these on. They just push right into the spherical ball end that's on here. Just snap it in place. And unless you need to actually take it off, you'll take a small flat tip screwdriver, gently pry on here, and then apply pressure this way, and it'll pop right off. So with for this, the brackets obviously face in either direction. You can get them mixed up. I had to kind of do some trial by error, and what I found was that having them pointed straight up helped for clearance, because there's a lot of clearance issues. So by doing that, it allowed me to get it a little bit further off the bottom here, and same on this side. Not as bad over here. It doesn't make contact with anything. It doesn't make contact with the fuse box lid. So you're pretty much good with that. Now, I had to push these out all the way. Luckily there's an adjustment. And the reason for that was here. So I wanted the shaft to be able to clear. My Dremel got away from me there. And what I ended up doing was I took a Dremel and just kind of Dremeled a small section here, which allowed for this tang bit, the part that sticks out, to essentially fall into place here. It was pushing against it and applying a little bit of pressure, and it doesn't really necessarily matter, because at some point with that pressing against this plastic here, it'll eventually, eat away at the plastic and ruin that. So back to this side. I ended up taking this hose off. It actually normally goes through here, loops around this wiring loom, comes through here and goes up. That way, this part, as it comes down, it didn't really contact that. Now it does slightly contact the loom here, but I mean, this is all plastic sleeving. What I ended up doing was just kind of pulling it down a little bit to make some more clearance, but it doesn't put any like crazy pressure or anything like that. It just kind of barely taps it on the way down. Again, same thing here, clearance it a little bit, got it all tightened down, and there is a pocket back here, which is where this runs into. You put your bolt, tighten it all down. I actually ended up putting a washer here and the washer on the other side just to give it some extra support, and then tighten those down. So the nut for this kit, 10mm nut, that is a 12mm. You can use the socket on this side. On the other side you'll need a wrench, and then that is a 12 mil as well. Overall though, not too bad, pretty easy. Now the hardest part is going to be removing this. It's mainly because it's got like a little bit of a hook on the end here, and I'll give you an idea of what I did to be able to remove that. This is the bit that I used for my Dremel. I've used this plenty of times for porting manifolds, things of that nature. Works pretty good. And as far as this goes, so the end here hooks in right there, which makes it very difficult because, as you can see, it goes in and it has to be able to come out. Well, as you turn this around, the only real way to do it is if it's this way. But when you do that, it obviously wants to hit the fender. So I had everything removed out of this way, but you have here, which is basically the top portion of your fender support that runs all through here. Obviously you don't want to mess that up. So what I did was I took a wrench, and I'll do this for demonstration purposes. I kind of stuck this back behind. So we'll just say this right here is an example of here. Stuck this in between, just like that. And what you can see is that as it's pushed in, this part here, it wants to stay and kind of ride along here. We have about a 1/4 inch of space that's here that can come out. So by putting a wrench in this area, it allowed me to basically pivot directly against this wrench, and that basically popped the rest of this 1/4 inch out so that this hook was closer to the exit point for the hole. And then by doing that, it actually allowed me to manipulate the rod the rest of the way and twist this out of there. So it is very finicky. It's kind of difficult to do, but it can easily be done just by sticking something in there to help push against this and provide you some pivoting force to pull this out. Other than that, that's about it. Let me show you a quick demonstration. So go ahead, bring this down. I'm not going to push it down all the way. I'll do that at the end. Okay. Comes up. And that's it. Pretty much just holding itself in place. Let me drop this down so I can show you that it still works just fine. Oh, come on. There it goes. And that's it. Pretty easy.